Welcome back to the regular exclusive podcast. And let's kick things off with some big news that you threw my way. We got some classic news from some classic series, and it's really exciting for horror fans because people have been wanting them to do something with these franchises for a while. So, Renee, where do you want to start?
Let's start with Freddy, the
Freddy.
icon of Freddy Krueger, and the news that there is a brand new Nightmare on Elm Street film in the works at Paramount, who have just acquired the rights from Wes Craven's estate.
That's really big news because they haven't done anything with Freddy since, like, when was that last movie? Like 2011?
2010 was the
Yeah.
remake. And I mean, I would hope they've learned their lesson and they're not just going to do a straight up reboot or remake again because that didn't work. I would hope if they're gonna go with like the original kind of characters and story, they would do like a requel kind of situation or a reboot where it's like a little old, a little new. But like, it's such a hard. I think it's weird to me that Nightmare on Elm Street has taken this long to get off the ground, but then it kind of makes sense because it really is so dependent on Robert Englund. He's Freddy. There's no other person who can play Freddy like
Yeah,
that, at
it's
least the way that he does. You know.
yeah, it's totally different than like the Scream requels where like the supporting cast, or not the supporting cast, the not the villain
The
is.
victims basically are the
Yeah.
main characters. This is not like it's a weird franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street for sure, because it does have like some memorable survivors like Nancy, right? And
Yeah.
then a couple of other characters. But I feel like overall it's like Freddy. And because like when we tried having someone else as Freddy, not that Jackie Earl Haley did bad in the remake, they made him into a full-on pedophile and it was really tough. Like
Yeah.
they were like, there's no room for a gray area here. He is 100% a pedophile and had like a kiddie basement porn dungeon. And I was like, this is a bit much for Freddy. I feel like we're supposed to be like rooting for Freddy in like some of these movies. It's gonna be tough. Like I think it's weird as a society. We're like, he's okay to kill the kids, but he can't touch them
Yeah.
because it is weird. It's like it adds another layer that just makes it. I don't know. I feel like the reboot or the remake just leaned too hard into that, and made it more serious. Where I think Freddy is fun and it should be a fun
People,
movie, but
yeah,
it is scary too. It needs to be a balance. But
yeah, people loved the charisma of Freddy and
yeah,
just how kind of comedic he was with torturing these kids in their dreams and stuff.
welcome to prime time, bitch. Was one
Yeah.
of the best lines of all time. 100%. And it's like I don't know. So maybe let's talk about what we think might happen. Like instead of what they're gonna do. What I personally hope, and I think we talked about this briefly when we were like talking about Black Phone 2. And I was like, this seems exactly like what I want Nightmare on Elm Street franchise to do, which is, and I think this would be great, is you don't have to be I mean, fine. If they want to try and reboot Freddy Krueger with a new actor who's like young, maybe not super well known, fine, that could work. They did it with Pennywise, right? With
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård. But I would argue that Freddy has been around a lot more and in a lot more things as an iconic character than the original Pennywise Tim Curry, just in like the one adaptation. So I think the way to go is like how we thought Black Phone 2 was going to be, which was like a different dream demon, not Freddy, but like someone else, some other killer in another
Oh,
area who did the same thing or whatever, who made some deal with Satan to come back as a dream demon. And now we have a
interesting.
new character to follow, but we have the same kind of format as like what we've had before.
That that's a. I don't know if this will work if they don't have Freddy. Like, I don't know if it. Maybe if
It'd be
they
tough,
brought
but they'd have
maybe
to
if
bring
they
a new
brought Robert
character.
Englund in to like be Freddy, and then some way. I mean, it's all
He said he
dream.
won't do it anymore without CGI. He won't sit in the makeup
Oh,
chair.
I
He's
mean
really
that
old
that
now.
that makes sense. That makes sense. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Carrey is like, nope, no more makeup. And then
Yeah.
everyone who's ever done prosthetics is like, yep, we're on that side.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I could see them bringing in Robert Englund and then having something in this dream world thing where like he morphs into somebody else, like a different
Mm.
actor, kind of like a Candyman, where like,
Totally. I like how they did that in the reboot where it's like there's multiple different Candymen.
yeah. I
I like
mean,
that too.
it's all dream stuff, so yeah, they could figure out the logic
Dream
for it.
logic can go a long way. There's so many workarounds. And I feel like, but I just think like I was so hyped when I thought that's what Black Phone 2 was going to be. And that
Yeah.
like the grabber was going to be like a new Freddy Krueger haunting kids in their dreams because he was killed in real life. Like that's awesome. That was not at all what that movie was.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed because I thought like at least we had already had a film with the grabber. We already had that established like relationship, so it would work going straight into the dreams. But I think they could do this in a way that would work with either like Freddy changing into somebody else or just a different character. I think
Hmm.
if you have a new character, you'd have to make him as iconic as Freddy, and it would be tough, but I think it could be done.
I would be curious if have you seen all the Freddy movies?
Yes.
Do they ever do like a scene, like a real backstory scene of like Freddy before he was lit on fire and stuff? Like, do they have many scenes
Yeah.
where they explore
A
that?
couple of them. There's like, I mean, they kind of changed the lore of how he was created throughout the thing. And like, there's at one point, like, you learned that he was like a prisoner at this criminally deranged prison that was run by nuns. There was like one weekend where a nun was left on accident in like the dangerous ward C or whatever, and like all the like hundreds of prisoners like raped her, and Freddie was like the product of that rape of like 100
Jeez.
evil people, and I was like, Jesus, that's one of the later films. But like, there's a bunch of different ones. Even I think New Nightmare, the one that, or not New Nightmare, which I love that one. That was kind of the meta version that Wes
Yeah.
Craven did. But I think it was Freddy versus Jason even has like a little intro on the background of Freddy, but you get like bits and pieces, but like they never outright confirm he's a fucking predator, sexual predator. It's kind of implied because he tortured and killed kids, but like
Yeah.
in the show, in the series and stuff, he's always going after teenagers. So it's not as like, I don't know. It seems like it was
Yeah.
something that like because he killed kids, you might think that, but like they never go, he definitely fucked those
Yeah.
kids, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that was part of it that made Freddie like, okay, we could root for this guy because he's a dick, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting how the Freddie lore is very different. Like it's kind of complicated all over the place, but
Mhm.
essentially he's born of evil and died and then made a deal with the devil or some shit. So it could
Uh,
be something where you have like an established, like you either maybe you do a prequel with Freddy a little bit,
yeah.
but would we want to see that after we know how much cooler it is once he's in the dreams and killing people? Like I wouldn't want to see him as a regular serial killer
Yeah,
without freaking
I don't
powers.
think anyone would enjoy, a whole movie of him not all fucked up with and not having the claw,
Not burnt, not yeah, not exactly. Well, he had the claw before he was burnt, actually, but he was not burnt up and then like had dream powers yet. That's when I
It
think he's like at his most powerful. That's when I want to see him.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be scenes within the movie, but yeah, it can't be the whole first half of the movie is him as a human sort of
Yeah.
thing.
But I think they could do it. Honestly, if they do it with a new actor, I think it just needs to not be somebody that's like super popular or famous and has a bunch of like expectations built around them. Give it
Mhm.
to someone new and hungry who has like a unique idea, like how they
Yeah.
did Bill Skarsgård with Pennywise.
Yeah. I agree.
But I just hope
Do
it's good.
do you have any directors that you like could dream hire for this?
I do. I have one that comes to mind that I would absolutely love to see his version of this because I think he could nail the dream aesthetic. But David Bruckner, who did
Oh,
the
yeah.
Hellraiser reboot a couple years ago, he did The Ritual and that movie with Rebecca Hall where she's
Mhm.
like haunted at the house,
The the
the Night House.
Night House, yeah.
Yeah. And I just think especially in The Ritual, but in The Night House too, there's just like this, he does a great dream element in all of his
Mhm.
movies so far. And in Hellraiser, like the combination of like the hell world coming into ours and like kind of that kind of weird aesthetic, I just thought it reminded me so much of like a David Lynch kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, I think David Lynch, like that. I mean, I know he's not around anymore, but he is literally the perfect director for something like this. A Dream Demon movie, you need the Dream Master.
Yeah. I mean,
What about you?
I thought of a couple directors that I would be curious to see what they do. So the first one was uh Christopher Borgley, who did Dream Scenario and The Drama. I'd be
Love it.
I don't know if he'd be
I
able
don't
to
think he would do it.
do I don't know if he would be able to do like the grotesque part of Freddy, but just like the way he kind of tackled it with Dream Scenario and like the vibes.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. But yeah, I mean, the gore has to be a very important part of it. But I just saw Evil Dead Burn, and so I would be very curious to see Sebastian Vanacek
Yes.
do a Freddy movie, because Evil Dead
Dude.
Burn is brutal and Freddy is brutal. And Evil Dead Burn also has some comedy. So
Mhm.
I would love to
Cool.
see his kind of idea of it. It would be crazy and super
I'm
intense.
I love that idea. I've only seen Infested. I need to go see Evil Dead Burn this weekend, but my God, that guy would be so perfect. He'd be so good. And it would be literally the scariest Freddy of all time.
Well, and when you see Evil Dead Burn, like Infested has a little bit of gore, but like Evil Dead Burn is gory.
Yeah, I
So
heard it's like he's like, I didn't want to go like it's not like we use the most amount of fake blood or anything. He's like, but I wanted to be like fucked up, violent, but not like just blood everywhere. And I was like,
yeah.
damn, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
It's fucking hardcore. Like it's cool to use a lot of blood, but like just to fuck shit up without all that blood is like, wow, that's impressive, man. You're a fucked up guy. And he's really like just as a French, I think, the French extremism, I think they just really nail
French don't
horror.
give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, and they're so evil and amazing and sexy because Sebastian Vanacek, my God, he's so hot.
That dude's pretty hot. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
he's a hotter Travis Kelsey. It's amazing. And he's got a French accent. So, whew.
There you go.
But yeah, okay. I like if they get David Bruckner or Sebastian Vanacek, I think they'll be in good hands.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. So then the other side of the coin is we just got our trailer for the Crystal Lake series, which is the prequel to Friday the 13th.
Well, technically, it is actually looks like from the trailer, it looks like it's exactly like the first movie. The very
Oh,
first
okay.
Friday the 13th
So,
movie. Because
okay.
Jason is not the killer in the first movie.
Yep.
He is. It's his
Spoiler
mom.
alert if you
Well,
haven't heard this very
he's just,
common
yeah. If you haven't
lore.
watched Scream already, Jason doesn't show up until the very end of the first one, and he's a little bit like kid who's like a corpse in a lake and drags the girl under. But like his mom is the one killing the whole time. And what's interesting is that like this has been something that they've been trying to work on for a long time, but they brought Brad Fuller was originally like developing this with A24.
Mhm.
And Brad Fuller did like the what was it, that American Gods show?
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
he did Hannibal. He's great. And
And then
he had a
you did Welcome to Derry, right?
no.
No, okay.
No, but he like literally said when they got the rights to this that they actually had full completed creative freedom because like I'm sure you know that like the rights around Jason and Friday the 13th have been so fucking tangled up for so long. That's why
Yeah.
nothing's been done. But he said that basically because we're doing a TV series and not like the movie, that they had access to literally everything from Friday the 13th, including adult Jason, the hockey mask, all of that. Whereas people
Oh,
thought
wow.
initially they were only able to cover the first movie. Because I think everything from Friday the 13th Part 2 and on is owned by one guy, and then one other guy owns the rights to like the OG movie and like certain things there. It's fucking weird. So, anyways, but I don't know what happened. They ended up last May or 2 years ago, they fired Brad Fuller, and then they brought in Brad Caleb Kane, who's now the series showrunner, who also did Welcome to Derry.
Oh, I got my Brads mixed up.
Yeah, exactly, close enough. And then last March they announced that they cast Linda Cardellini as Pamela Voorhees.
I'm
They
so excited.
They confirmed that they have someone playing a young Jason Voorhees in a recurring guest role, but they haven't said anything since. So I don't know. I imagine that like, and tell me if you think I'm just reaching, but like I kind of feel like there's no way that they're not going to have adult Jason show up in season 1 at any point. Like he has to, right?
Yeah,
That's what people are watching this series for. I will tell you that, no matter what, even though it's the prequel or technically the first movie, like we're all gonna be like, when the fuck is Jason showing up?
So if they casted Linda Cardellini, and I feel like by casting her, it's going to take place a little bit before the first movie, because in the first movie Jason's mom is a little bit older, right?
Only a
And
tiny
and
bit. So
also
I think
if
it'll be like the events that lead up to the camp being closed,
yeah.
and like the prequel of like that first summer where she goes like, or she killed some of the kids, but then they shut it down, and then when it reopens, she comes back and kills them.
Yeah. So I think they're gonna do I
You
could
don't
see
think
that
Jason will be in season one?
I think they are gonna do similar things as to like Star Wars Episode 1, where we see the kid, but then like we see the shadow of Darth Vader on like the promotional material. Like I feel like they'll do a flash of it. Like he'll be we'll see like some sort of dream sequence of like we see the kid and then we see adult Jason sort of thing. And I bet it's going to be like in the finale or the penumbral episode or whatever.
Penultimate, yeah.
That one.
I was like, the what? Yeah, no, totally. I think you're right. I hope
But
they
yeah,
just
like
show him though.
we have to see him. You know, it's going to be similar as like Welcome to Derry, where people are like, when do we see Pennywise? We know we see Pennywise, sort of thing.
Like get him out here, but they teased him out, which was great. And then he was in the last couple episodes a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah,
so it was like really cool to kind of wait. Here, though, you're right. Like it kind of has to end on like the implication that Jason comes back or how he comes back. Maybe we'll get to that because there literally has never been an explanation besides some supernatural shit as to why Jason is a child in the first movie, and then the same survivor that he supposedly attacked at the end of the first one, he comes back to kill as an adult in the second one at the very
yeah,
beginning. So you're like, so how did that happen, right? How did he grow up? And it's like, oh, like some fucking hell demon, grew him up and then sent him back. I
yeah.
don't know, but I love that. Maybe they'll give an explanation for it.
And I also could see them doing I mean it looks like on IMDb I'm seeing like the most episodes I'm seeing is 7 episodes and
I think
Linda
it says that there's 8 total, and they're dropping all of them at the same time, the same day, like earlier mid October on Peacock.
Okay. And it says that Linda Cardellini is only in 6 episodes at least.
Hmm.
But I'm not seeing 8 episodes on anyone else. So who knows? But I could see
It is.
them doing a thing where they split the season up into like 2 different timelines, where like or not timelines, but just periods of times, where it's like the first one is kind of the pre first movie events, like you were saying,
With
like
Jason drowning and like
Jason
her
drowning.
going crazy, killing the kids, the camp getting shut down, and then possibly like also the new camp being like restarted again, and then her killing spree already going on.
Yeah, so like the second half of
I
the
could see it.
season could be like the first movie sort of
Yeah.
thing, and it ends with that ending in the movie where we see Jason come out of the water sort of thing. I
Yeah.
could see that.
I think that like we just both agree they're gonna have to show Jason not as a child in season 1, even if it's just a shadow or an implication, but they have to show adult Jason. It's interesting though, because it's like, I mean, I know the rights issues are the problem, but it's like Friday the 13th. It's like I'm surprised that like nobody's figured it out until now, because it feels like Halloween has just been plugging away making movies, killing
Yeah.
it, and like Friday the 13th was even more popular back then. So it's kind of like crazy that like 2 of our most famous serial killers in cinema history, Freddy and Jason, have been not at all involved in like the new horror rise in general. And like it seems like almost like fucking yeah, it's about time you guys get into this.
Well, and I have to imagine that so like A24 is doing this and then Peacock is distributing the series. I have to imagine that Peacock is or Universal is looking to see the success of this to then greenlight a movie. And then they start Friday the 13th with the second movie.
Well, they might, but they might not have the rights to the movies, it sounds like. Because remember, I was just saying, like, the movies' rights are still all fucked up, but they're getting worked out. So the TV rights, it sounds like they do have the rights to everything. So it's like they might just continue the series. But eventually, someone's going to work out those fucking film rights. Maybe they are being worked out right now. I don't know. But, like, we're starting to get Jason again in pop culture things, like he just popped up in Dead by Daylight. There's like new things, so I feel like it's like that's a good sign that like they're probably going to be making Jason films. Sadly, they haven't made one since the reboot in 2000, the remake in 2009, which was fucking incredible. And everyone online agrees. They're like, out of all the remakes, that one in Texas Chainsaw, like from the early 2000s, those are the 2 that fucking rock.
I need to
And I think
rewatch
it's the
that
same
one.
director.
Oh, that's cool. I
That's
mean,
why.
the thing I'm excited for is just seeing Linda Cardellini be completely unhinged because I love
Yes.
her in everything she does. And I want this to kind of be her like Rachel McAdams send help sort of
Yes.
project.
Oh, I would totally. I think she'll nail the part of fucking Mrs. Voorhees because it's like such a delightfully unhinged role in the first one. And I mean, like you don't even meet her really until the very end of the movie. But when you do, it's like just a just brilliant character and
Yeah.
execution. And like just remembering that scene, I'm like, I cannot wait to see fucking Linda Cardellini just go hard on that. Cause I mean, the fact that we're getting Velma as Pamela Voorhees is like blowing my mind. I don't know about you, but I'm so hyped.
It's going to be awesome. All right. Well, let's take a little break and then get into Troy.
I've fought many wars in my time. Some were fought for land, some for power, some for glory. I suppose fighting for love makes more sense than all the rest. Do you love her?
Father, you are a great king because you love all of Troy. That is the way I love Helen.
I want her back. Will you go to war with me, brother?
They're coming for me. The wind is bringing them closer.
This will be the greatest war the world has ever seen. We need the greatest warrior.
Achilles can't be controlled.
Be careful, King of Kings. First you need victory.
I won't ask you to fight my war. You already have. The loser will burn before nightfall.
Immortality! Take it! It's yours! No son of Troy will ever submit to a foreign ruler.
Then every son of Troy shall die.
Now you know who you're fighting.
Is there no one else? Is there no one else?
All right, let's revisit this very entertaining movie, Troy from 2004. You know, we got the Odyssey coming up this week. This kind of feels like the prequel, but it's kind of rewatching it. It was interesting. I'm like, I don't know if this is really something good to watch before the Odyssey because they're
Yeah,
so different.
Let's talk about that up front. Let's get that out of the way. Should you watch Troy before the Odyssey? I think my opinion is gonna be very different from yours, just from
Okay.
the sound of it, because I would say this is a great one to watch before. It might not totally be a 1-to-1 because like they changed so much shit,
Yeah.
but and like people who get killed are definitely still alive in the Odyssey and things like that. But outside of like I would say just for the background of like the whole thing, because I think we're gonna see like the siege of Troy and like
Yeah.
them in the horse in the Odyssey. So like we're gonna get like the tail end. I mean, it couldn't hurt. That's all I think. And I know this one doesn't have any magic or gods and monsters or anything involved in it, but I think it kind of implies it if they're not like just straight outright shown. So
Yeah.
I think it does it the right way. But I'm curious. You don't think? Are you saying you don't know if maybe Troy is a good watch before the Odyssey?
I think I would say hard pass.
Okay, wow.
That-
Controversial. Let's hear it.
Purely in the sense of like, I don't think you should connect these two movies at all. Like, I think they feel like they're going to be totally different movies, and like this is like a popcorn, really fun war movie, and I just don't know if it's going to mesh very well with Christopher Nolan's kind of view. Like visually, it's going to be jarring. I mean, first off, Hector's not in the Odyssey, and Hector is the greatest character that's ever been introduced into Greek mythology.
That's true.
I don't know.
I still think that this movie is worthwhile because, yes, of course, I'm sure it would offend Christopher Nolan to be like, "This is what you're considering the prequel to my movie," but like, I mean, come on, like,
No, this is a
fucking.
good movie.
This is a great movie, and it gets you all excited about Greek mythology stuff, which I think we could all use a refresher on if you're not like fucking, fluent in ancient Greek or like, have read the Odyssey lately. I would say there's a couple other movies that might be better to like watch as a pair, but I do think like this one is a worthwhile watch. It might be totally different and not in the same style. And yes, it's more of a popcorn film, but like it's got really incredible craft,
Yeah.
great performances. And I think it's just like I watched this and then immediately went to watch the animated Hercules because Nolan and I were like, I need to brush up on my Greek mythology. And I know it's not exactly 1-to-1 there either, but I just feel like getting all the Greek, like, ancient Greek or like the gods, like kind of content right now is good.
Yeah.
Percy Jackson, that would be maybe a good one to watch.
Oh yeah. The first Percy Jackson movie was actually pretty fun. I don't think I ever saw the second one, but yeah, no.
Isn't there like 10 of them?
I think they only made it to 2 movies and then they tried to do a TV show unrelated, and I don't think that did very well. So it might just be dead. But
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I really like Troy. I enjoyed watching it again. I don't think I've watched it since I was a teenager, but like this movie visually is like burned into my brain. Like I remember the trailer for this movie, and like when I was rewatching it, and this movie has so many like people getting to say their line. They have their trailer moment where they say a line.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of them, and as I was watching, I was like, that line was in the trailer. That line was in the trailer. Like there were such good lines, and they were delivered so well. Like every line in this movie is epic.
Literally, it has some of the best lines of all time. And I think honestly, I just feel like people have been too harsh on it because it came out in 2004, and like this was like, I mean, we're just not at the same point as we are overall movie quality at that like level. Like 2004, that's like 22 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So
and
that's a long time. There was a lot of really great movies coming out. I think that this one was like really like criticized harshly at the time because people thought it was going to be like Gladiator ripoff or like just banking on like, oh, maybe that'll be like successful. But like, I think this movie is definitely a lot more than that. It's not perfect, and it is written by one of the men who ruined Game of Thrones.
That was so
David
surprising
Benioff.
when I looked. I was like, David Benioff wrote this?
Yeah, you motherfucker. This don't make me love you because you made me hate you first.
No, I agree with you. Like, I do think a lot of hate for this did come because Gladiator came out in 2000. It won the Oscar, and it did feel like Universal was like, we need our Gladiator.
Didn't they also make a movie like Alexander with like Colin Farrell?
Yeah, that also did not do well at all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was kind of this era after Gladiator where everyone's like, people like dudes wearing skirts. Like,
it's such a funny thing to me. Like, I'm like, are they going to be wearing those short little skirts in the Odyssey? I think they are in the trailers. And I was just like, how do we just like sit there and not laugh at
Troy is just like crop tops and skirts,
like,
muscular dudes
literally.
in crop tops.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it. They look gorgeous. Like Eric Bana should only wear crop tops and skirts all the time. He looks incredible. And Brad Pitt, my God, he's literally like chiseled like out of marble, like the clouds, like he's a fucking Greek god in the flesh. So yeah, but this, I would say just overall, like I can't even pick a favorite quote from this movie, I feel like. And in general, I can't even tell you like what my favorite aspect is because I love so many things about it. I agree it's not perfect, but like literally I thought like they might look silly, but some of the battle sequences, even though they're in skirts, look incredible.
The battles
are really great.
The battles are so good.
And practical effects really go a long way. And I feel like if this was done in the like later 2000s, like early 2010s, it would be all CGI.
Yeah. I mean, like this. So the director for this movie, Wolfgang Peterson, he's like responsible for a lot of huge movies. I mean, like the run that he had with Troy, like he did, like I know him from Land Before Time, but then like he did Air Force One, Perfect Storm, Troy, Poseidon, all like back to back to back. And it's like this guy knows how to do this stuff. And this movie, to me, it felt like they wanted Ridley Scott to direct this movie just from like the scale of it. But he did a great job directing this, and especially the battle sequences. And there was one part that I was really surprised by, and I was curious if you noticed it. So we watched the 3-hour version, the extended one. And
I didn't even know that existed until you told me that. So I just watched it last night as well.
like the original run is like 2.5 hours. So this is like a full 30 minutes. But like the battle scenes are really violent. And when they do the Trojan horse thing, they get it into the city to let everyone in. The sequence of them pillaging the city was so graphic.
Yeah,
I
they
was
threw
like,
a baby in the fire. I was
they
like,
threw
what
a
the
baby in
fuck?
the fire. Like it looked like they were gonna show just soldiers assaulting women. Like
Lots of them, yeah.
I was like, I do not remember this. Like this
No.
is intense.
Honestly, I noticed it was different from the first shot. I was like, the first shot of this fucking thing is a dog licking a guy who's injured. What the fuck are we doing here? This is really different. And then there was like a lot of extra scenes, I feel like, especially in the beginning, that they really like added to it that somehow made Orlando Bloom as Paris. Like his performance is not what I hate. It's just like the character is such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he's like the
We'll
dumbest person to ever live. But like they somehow made him worse in the director's like 3-hour cut. And I was just like, the answer was definitely not more Paris. We should have had less for sure. There's no way to make him more better in any way, I think. But it was a good overall. But I don't know if you noticed the fight scene which we'll talk about with him and Hector, Achilles and Hector, is like the best part of the movie. But
it's incredible.
The drums that like is the normal soundtrack of that scene, they don't have it in the extended version because it's a longer version of the fight, and the music, I guess, wasn't long enough. And I was like, what kind of cheap production was this? We couldn't loop the music. You couldn't get somebody like the fucking orchestra that's doing the soundtrack that couldn't just throw in some more drums for you. Jesus Christ. But I thought that was interesting.
Another thing that I was surprised by, and maybe it's because when I watched this before, I wasn't bald, but there's some great wigs in this. Great wigs, great hair extensions. Like Brian Cox went full bore with his.
I can't wait to talk about him. He's so delightful.
Eric Bana's like mullet thing is gorgeous. I don't know if Brad Pitt's wearing a wig or not, but like that feels like a Brad Pitt hair.
Yeah. Honestly, it feels like just either like his actual hair. I think it could be. Fuck if I know. I just know that he was miserable throughout the entire shoot, which is just hilarious because it kind of like translates to his character because he's always pissed off, kind of.
Yeah.
Or just like annoyed.
Why was he miserable on set?
Oh, because he quit smoking. So he was like, and he had to like fucking, so he had to quit smoking and he was like working out like crazy to keep that fucking physique. And so he was
Brian
just like,
Cox?
No, sorry, Brad Pitt. That's
okay. Like,
yeah, Brian Cox really had to work for that.
I was like, what physique are you talking about?
It was really important to him that he had the Agamemnon physique. But I just thought that was funny about, and also in general out of the whole cast, I'm pretty sure Brad Pitt and Peter O'Toole, who plays Priam, the king of Troy, they both were like, this movie's garbage afterwards. And I'm just like, damn, you guys, fuck. Sound like fucking Jace over here. I'm just kidding. But they're like, I think Brad Pitt complained that because he was spoiled working with David Fincher for multiple and for like a couple projects before this. He said that like he had to do the movie because he pulled out of another movie, so he had to do something else.
Tree of Life or The Fountain or something.
Yeah,
and then Hugh Jackman went into it.
So he said that basically he just felt like he was always in the center of the frame, and that he felt like it was just so boring, like that it was just like, hey, here's the hero in the middle of the frame. Like, this is so like basic. And I'm like, yeah, because he's like, David Fincher would be like fucking doing cool, fucking crazy camera work shit. Yeah, I bet you. But he was like, trying to say not like to talk shit about the director, but then Peter O'Toole was like, that fucking Kraut didn't know shit. Damn, can you say Kraut anymore? I don't know. Maybe in 2004, but like I was like, that's how you know he's an old person. He refers to a German as a Kraut.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's just nuts because when you compare it to like Brian Cox, who we were talking about, his experience making this movie was like just delighted, the best fucking time of his life. He said it was the only role he ever pursued, and he also was talking about how he was just like stunned about how beautiful Brad Pitt was every time he was on set. And I was like, I just love this guy, and you could tell he's enjoying his performance. I feel like you could really tell he's enjoying his time because like Agamemnon is just like you could as Agamemnon, he's just having a fucking delightful time. Like he's just laughing, he's enjoying himself. You could tell. That's maybe why Brad Pitt's like assholeness of Achilles comes off really well. Because like I don't know if this is a good time to talk about, but I think Achilles is a pretty unique main character for like a movie. I mean, I know Hector's kind of co-star, but like, he doesn't, spoiler alert, he doesn't make it the whole movie. So I would say I think like for Brad Pitt as Achilles, like he's such a dick and just doesn't care about things, and he only cares about like glory in certain ways, but not like from like your normal point of view. Like at the very beginning when that kid goes to fetch him, and it's like
fucking coldest line ever.
Dude, you think he's gonna say something because the kid's like, "That's the biggest man I've ever seen. I would never want to fight him." And you think he's gonna say something inspirational because he's like the hero of the story, and he's like, "That's why no one will remember your name." And it's like, fuck, man, you destroyed that kid's life. He's like 7, like existential crisis much. Fucking dark, man. I was like, that is incredible though. I mean, it's just great.
I do remember the first time seeing this movie and like that line, I was like, what the fuck?
Like, damn, didn't have to fucking kill that kid. Just leave him there, standing there for the next 30 years trying to figure out what the fuck he meant by that.
Well, so, I mean, and I think this is a good segue to just talking about Brad Pitt. Like the opening scene of this movie, like it just it defines Achilles going forward. He's a superhero because that dude that he fights, like I feel like that was the inspiration for the character the Mountain in Game of Thrones. Like,
right?
And I looked it up.
I
That guy
thing.
is 6'11". So for reference, The Rock, who feels like a giant, The Rock is 6'5".
Wow.
So like add 6 feet or sorry, 6 inches on top of The Rock's head.
I was like, how tall is this guy? 12? He's 12 fucking feet. All right. More
like,
than that, I'm bad at math.
He's just huge. And then Achilles comes out and is just like the coolest and coldest looking motherfucker and just like runs up and stabs the dude. And
it was like the running jump stab into the neck. I just didn't, we had never seen anything like it.
A cool shot.
And the way it was like, we thought it was going to be like a duel or something. And then it's like just fucking one shot dead. You're like, dude, this guy is a god. I believe it.
Yeah. And then he just stands in front of the army screaming like, is there anyone else? Or is there no one else? It's like, holy shit, that's how you introduce a badass character.
Dude, for real. It's incredible stuff. And even before that, I love how he's like walking out, then Agamemnon has the like audacity to talk shit to him. Yeah. I should whip you for your insolence. He's like, okay, cool, you fight him. Bye. Yeah. I'm just like, I have never seen that before as a character, like in a epic like this or something. It's always like the good guy or like a Captain America type or like,
Yeah, he's kind of like an anti-hero.
He is very much an anti-hero, which I love. And he goes through he gets kind of humbled by the end for sure. But I would say just like his total attitude towards the king and towards everything, I'm just like, I'm all in on this guy immediately. I don't care if he's a dick. I love him.
Yeah.
Plus, he literally looks like he's a Greek god himself. Like, I don't know if outside of maybe Jacob Elordi in anything, but Brad Pitt, I don't know if humans have ever looked better than him in Troy.
That was one thing that stuck out to my mind, and I noticed it the first time we see Rose Byrne with Achilles, and he's like changing in front of her, and you just see Brad Pitt's cum gutters, and I'm just
what the fuck, Jace? fuck? Dude, okay. I thought you were gonna say like a normal fucking person, his sex hips, but what the fuck? Cum gutters?
You've never
Jesus
heard that?
Christ. No, I'm a lady.
But it's
People
like
don't say cum gutters to me. Maybe they do. I've just maybe behind my back. I've never heard it, but
well, like
that's
he
hilarious.
has so many
Fuck.
pictures. There's so many shots of him with those, with just the drains. We'll call them that.
I would rather you not talk about them at all anymore.
But I'm like, there's so many scenes in his movies of that shot, and then also so many scenes in the opening scene where you just see him laying on a bed bare ass with naked women around him. I'm like, I can think of one other movie immediately off the top of my head of his, Legends of the Fall. That exact scene is in there. I'm like, it's got to be in at least 5 more Brad Pitt movies. Like,
it's like if Jeff Goldblum had like a bunch of movies where he was doing that same like shirt unbuttoned pose in like Jurassic Park, you would be like, okay, this guy's really leaning into that.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Brad Pitt, it's like I wouldn't even fucking question it because I'm literally stunned looking at him. That ass is fucking incredible. My God. Literally, like we were watching it last night and Nolan was like, okay, I'm like totally straight, right? But I was like, no, I know. Yeah, you'd fuck him too. He's fucking gorgeous. My God. He's like, I just think he's perfect in this. And I went online and saw people criticizing his performance. And I was just like, get the fuck out of here, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with his performance. I love it. And I'd never noticed that he was putting on any sort of accent. And it's not even like he is. He's just talking a little bit differently than how he normally talks. And I think that's good because it sounds more like I don't know, an old-timey leader or hero. I mean, he's speaking English, so it's never going to be fucking accurate to the text. But
well, the thing that he does really well, and it's kind of encompassed by the character of like Achilles is like a narcissist. He wants to do whatever is best for his legacy, for people to remember him. And that also leads to this great conflicting relationship with Agamemnon, where it's like he fights for him because he knows that he's going to get into the most remembered, the greatest battles because of that. But he hates him. And Brad Pitt is really good at being the warrior that's too good for the king not to have. Like he knows that he has the leverage, and so he's really good at just like pushing back at him. And we know
like when they just don't go to battle, he's like, "We're not fucking going, guys. We're
like,
staying here.
You need me more than I need you," sort of thing. And he's really great at that. And Brian Cox is great at just getting pissed off by him.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect because it's like, you should just fucking give the guy what he asked for. Like, obviously, he could fucking back it up, but I'm pretty sure in the original like text, he's like such a dick about it that he's like, I will literally wait until the Trojans have made it onto the beach and are threatening to burn my ship. That is when I will join the fight again. And I'm like, good God, this man. Like, I love it. I love someone who can be stubborn like that. That's, hey, more power to you, especially if you like have the leeway to do it. But like, I was also like, can you imagine if he did that in this movie? Like he only fought at the beginning and then he was like, all right, I'm out for the rest of the movie until like he fights Hector. You're like, no. I mean, he pretty much does kind of sit out for like most of it, but because we get a good amount of action of him in the beginning and then towards the end again. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't even care when he's not just when he's like just fucking not doing it because he's still being a dick.
Achilles carries like the first half of this movie because we have the opening fight scene and then we get the scene of them storming the beach. It's just Achilles and his 50 guys like taking the entire beach. And then it's like then after that we get into the actual Trojan War where there's a lot more war fighting happening. But yeah, like the fighting is amazing in this. It's funny though that people criticize Brad Pitt's accent because I thought it was hilarious that they just said, hey, Brian Cox and Brendan Gleeson, don't even worry about your Irish accent. Like,
yeah,
just like keep it. It's gonna be fine. I know we're supposed to be Greeks, but
is Brian Cox fucking Irish in real life?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had
His
no
accent
idea.
is not as thick as Brendan Gleeson's, but
Okay. Oh, he's a Scottish actor, it says.
oh yes, Scottish. Sorry.
That makes sense. Okay. And okay, I was like, that doesn't sound Irish to me, that guy. Scottish, absolutely. I can believe that. But
That makes it funnier
yeah.
because then they're brothers with two different accents.
I love it though, because I think it's funny that like I'm pretty sure almost everyone is doing different accents. And like sure, they're all from different supposed countries sometimes, but like all the people in Troy don't talk the same.
I mean, they
But
kind of
it's
do.
funny how like people I feel like that wasn't really a big deal when this movie came out. Maybe it was. I don't remember the discourse, but like I feel like it's such a big discourse about the Odyssey, the fact that they're like Tom Holland's character says my dad in the trailer, and that like Robert Pattinson says like you just need a new daddy or something, and people are like, why are they talking like that? And it's like, well, I agree with what Tom Holland just said. Like, does it matter? Because unless we're speaking ancient Greek, it's not going to be accurate.
Well, that was
and I was like, exactly right.
That was the thing I thought was funny when I heard about it. It's like, yeah, they're complaining about the accent, and people were like, yeah, they should be speaking like old English. And I'm like, that's not the right accent either.
No, but it's funny how we accept a British accent in place of the actual correct accent.
Yeah.
Like the Chernobyl show, everyone had British accents, and it was like taking place in Russia because it's like, would you rather watch a bunch of people with real British accents just talk, or would you rather see them all stumble through a Russian accent for the entire season? Like, I don't know. Or maybe it's just like it would be a lot if you were just listening to all Russian people. I feel like that's kind of offensive that Hollywood thinks that way. But I think that's why it goes actually back to like Shakespeare and stuff, but like literally from like I think that's just something that like it was part of the stage stuff and plays that like even though it wasn't the right accent, it was like a British accent and that made it like okay. And like if you think about it, it's fucking true. We've accepted that our whole lives. And I never realized it until like recently. And I was like, that's fucking nuts that like I never even clocked that. I was like, these people are speaking British. This movie takes place in like fucking Egypt or whatever. You know, you're like, what the fuck? But I think it's really, really interesting because people never cared about that shit. It was just such a tiny detail. But now people just have all the time in the world to just sit in the basement and fucking analyze shit, I guess. But I don't know. It just seems like weird that we're criticizing Christopher Nolan when there's been a bunch of like this thing has been retranslated like thousands of times. So it's like been changed every single time. So it's like, you know, if you really want to be precious about it, you'd have to go back to like fucking scrolls when this thing was written. Like it's fucking crazy.
and only Robert Eggers does that. He's the only one who goes back to.
If you want a fucking period accurate The Odyssey, like honestly though, as much as I think like Christopher Nolan's gonna nail it, I really do feel like Robert Eggers would fucking destroy.
It would be his magnum opus. He would spend 10 years learning the original dialect.
He could be still doing that right now. We don't know what he's doing in the background after Werewolf Nosferatu. He's busting those out. But like, I think this could take him 10 years. You're right. But fucking fingers crossed for that. But in this case, I do think like, I don't think it matters. I'm actually like kind of at peace with the fact that they're speaking in American accents because finally, at least we don't have to fucking put on the air to pretend.
Also, we don't have to deal with some actors having bad accents.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah, if you watch House of the Dragon, the chick who plays Lady Massaria or whatever, this like kind of spy woman for Rhaenyra, she has the worst fucking accent. And then you hear her in the behind the scenes, and you're like, why don't they just have her use her normal accent? It's like really fucking weird, and it's so distracting all the time. When someone has a bad accent, it's horrible, and that's why I was just shocked people even said Brad Pitt. But I don't think like anyone's really fucking it up in this movie.
No, okay, well, here we can get to this, and this is maybe more of a writing thing, but I really like this movie, but I also hate it because it's because I cannot stand both Paris, so Orlando Bloom's character. I cannot stand them, and I also can't stand Peter O'Toole.
What?
I'm
I
like,
loved him. Oh,
no,
he makes me cry every time. He's so beautiful.
I'm just like, this movie also just makes me bad because I'm like, everyone is so dumb. I ride hard. I stand for Hector in this whole movie, and everyone is
I
just
see.
ruining Hector's day. Like,
Oh my God.
Hector
Okay.
is doing everything right, and everyone
Of
else is like,
course.
you know what? Let's listen to the gods on this. You're the leader of the military. You're a proven warrior. Yeah, let's listen to the priest that we see once every decade. Like,
Hey, no, they see him all the fucking time. He's in every scene. All they do is listen to the gods. That's why, like, when I was watching this movie, I was like, when Achilles just like fucking chops off the head of the statue, and like even when Hector recommends that they don't listen to the gods, they don't know, they're not gonna fight for us. It's like, I don't even know if people actually believed that back then. Maybe there were some dissenters, but like, did Hector? I mean, I feel like everyone really believed in the gods, and even in the original story, when he does that, desecrates the temple of Apollo upon arrival, the gods put like a plague on on the whole Greek army for like, I don't even, for however long, until like they make an offering of peace and of something, because I forget what it is, but it's some weird detail. So I was like, so they literally can't even fight right away because they're fucking like in a plague. So like that would be nuts. But I feel like, I don't know. What do you think?
They piss me off, and I
I
know.
understand, but do you think you maybe are a little Hector sided? Like, I
I'm
understand.
so Hector
And
sided.
obviously, if anyone has done nothing wrong in their entire life, it is that little prince Hector. He is the most perfect man. Yes, he killed the cousin. We don't even care. That was his fucking fault. That kid ran into battle pretending to be Brad Pitt.
That was funny watching this again and seeing him, like, oh, that's the guy from Tron and Four
Yeah.
Brothers. I never realized that he was in
Garrett
that.
Hedlund. You know what's great is that, like, or what I realized just these last couple watches was like, in real life, not in real life, but like outside of this movie, like Garrett Hedlund is super fucking hot.
Yeah.
And Sean Bean, gorgeous. All these men, there's a lot of really hot men in this movie. Eric Bana,
The cast in
Orlando
this movie
Bloom.
is crazy.
But you put them in a scene with fucking Brad Pitt, and I'm like, these bitches look awful. Like, Sean Bean, is that my Boromir? I don't know. And like, just like looking at Garrett Hedlund in the blonde wig, I'm like, that is not doing you any favors, man. And it's so
Yeah.
weird because he's such an attractive guy, but it's like, I guess even attractive people look ugly next to Brad Pitt. That's the problem.
So
The only one you could put next to Brad Pitt without like reducing their own hotness is George Clooney. Those two need to be studied in a lab. Why they don't, you know what I mean? They're just too perfect, I guess. But
yeah, like the interesting thing with like, I don't know, it's just like the characters drive me insane, but I think that's also intentionally, like they wrote the characters to be like that. So I mean, technically it is good writing because it it causes me to have a reaction for him, but I also just hate him.
but I will say also, if you watch the extended version, like Hector literally warns Paris the night before he
Yes.
steals Helen. And it's like, man, when he really spells it out like that, I feel like it makes Paris 1,000 times worse. He was already bad, but like
Dude,
this made it so much worse because he's like, "Do you love me, brother?" It's like, oh God, what the fuck? I literally told you not to.
I remember that line from the trailer, and I'm like, that fucking line, that's the I fucked up, I did something, and so I need to make sure that you won't be mad when I tell you. But it's like,
Exactly.
you were right though.
I
The
think
extended version did not do Paris
Orlando
any
Bloom.
favors,
Yeah.
because there's just so, like, Paris pisses me off because he's just a fuck boy. Like,
He is the worst, and he's
He-
worse. I don't know if he's worse in this or the story. I think in this, but like possibly the story. In the story, he has this because he's like just a lover. He loves everyone. He's all into women. And so the gods are having a contest or something, or they're comparing who is the most beautiful. And it's like Aphrodite, the goddess of love, Athena, and like I forget, and maybe Hera, like Zeus's wife. And they bring Paris up to fucking judge it on Mount Olympus. I'm like, who is this fucking guy? And so they all like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they all get naked for him. Like, this is like, this guy, of course, doesn't deserve it. And then they all offer him gifts because he's like, I can't decide, you're all equally beautiful. And then the gifts that Aphrodite offers him is that you can marry the most beautiful woman in the whole world, which is Helen of Sparta. And he says, I'll take that. And so he like basically like ordered her like a mail order bride, but then he does show up and supposedly seduce her, fall in love with her, whatever. But I was like, so he basically went there not even with the intention to make peace. He was going there to pick up his fucking mail order bride. This is ridiculous. And then in the battle when he goes to fight
Brendan Gleeson.
yeah, and he's like he like turns around and runs back to Eric Bana after he gets cut on his little leg because he's such a baby. In this story, in the original story, he like Aphrodite like comes like flying in and rescues him and takes him to bed with Helen, and they make love. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Who is this guy? Is this like the fucking Homer's like POV? Like, this is my character. This guy's like living the life. But my God, so I was like, and they don't actually kill him in Brendan Gleeson's character, which is what's his face? Why can't I think of it?
I mean, I will screw up all their names, but I can look him up.
Menelaus, that's what it is.
Menelaus,
Okay,
yeah.
Menelaus. So Menelaus, the king, he's actually like alive in the Odyssey, so he doesn't get killed there, but he gets injured, but he doesn't get killed. And then yeah, like so I was like, that's interesting that they decided to kill him. And then that Paris ends up fucking living through this movie. They give him a happy ending with Helen. Out of all the people who fucking deserve it, fucking couldn't be Hector, right? Hector could have been like, hey, you know how that cousin dressed up in Achilles' armor and went out to fight? Why don't you do that right now?
Yeah.
You go out and fight Achilles right now. That would be great, because you're right. I think it's just the fact that he's weighed down by Paris is like just so terrible that you're like, this guy sucks because his brother is literally perfect. He's the perfect person.
Well, it's like Paris sucks because he's just like this little fuckboy bitch that starts this whole thing because he got a crush on a girl. Like,
yeah.
And it's just like, dude, like there's one line that that Hector says when he's talking to the dad, and he's like, I will not sacrifice my countrymen so that Paris can have his prize. Like, oh my God, this is just another toy again. He makes me so mad. This is like you when you watch Joffrey on Game of Thrones. Like, he just infuriated you. Like,
yeah,
I feel this for Paris.
I understand that. I do. I just now look at him like a piece of fucking shit that he is, and I wonder what Orlando Bloom was thinking taking this role, because sure, he's gorgeous and he could pass, I guess, as Eric Bana's brother, like, fine. But like, really, you wanted to play this role? And then he's like, in the trivia, he talks about how he said that, like, oh man, this was really like shit. Or I really hated my character is what he said. And like, I thought he was such a pussy. And I'm like, then why'd you take the role, man? Did you think they were gonna fucking change, like, however many 1,000-year-old story? Like, they're not gonna fucking change it.
Well, and then I mean, this is fresh off of Lord of the Rings. So Orlando Bloom had just filmed all 3 of them, and then like went on to this. And
well, he also had done the Pirates movies. He was doing the Pirates.
Oh yeah,
movies,
you're right. You're right.
That came out in 2003. So like, he literally was just in Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one.
And he is not a little bitch in Pirates. Will Turner is a fantastic character.
Will Turner and fucking Legolas would beat the shit out of Paris if they ever saw him in person. Like, if they ever met this motherfucker, they would kill him. And when he whips out a bow and arrow later, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I hated that so much.
I'm not gonna forgive you because you're going all Legolas now. It's not gonna fucking happen. And I say this as a person whose email as a child was like Liz Lover. Like, that was my username. I was obsessed.
When they have the scene of him shooting, practicing his bow and arrow stuff, I was like, oh, some fucking producer was like, hey, this guy's good with a bow. Let's have him use a bow for one scene.
Well, honestly, it does kind of fit the character, because you're like, yeah, this little bitch would hide behind a bow and arrow, and he wouldn't fight with a bow and arrow like Legolas does, where he's like, taking on a fucking Oliphant with like 500 with 50 dudes on it, one-on-one. Paris would be like, I'm gonna throw dynamite at it from like a mile away. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm fucking nuke it. Like, he's not gonna fucking go near it. That's why he's such a little bitch. I agree. He's such a like downer on this whole story. But you know what's crazy is that they have him live and that he ends up with Helen, but I think he actually dies in the Siege of Troy. I could be wrong, but I know he dies and he doesn't actually end up with Helen. She goes back to Menelaus and they live together and have children.
What?
And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. So like, I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to see her in the Odyssey. And that's because Tom Holland's character is going to go visit Menelaus to ask about where his father is because he's not back yet. It's been almost 10 years since the 10-year war ended. So he's like, and I was like, huh, when I saw that, I was like, so he goes to visit Menelaus? He's alive? Not in the underworld? Okay. So then I looked it up and I was like, yeah, they changed a lot of shit in this movie for in Troy at least. So I'll be curious how it pans out. But I thought that was interesting because I'm like, that seems like a pretty big character to kill off. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe he's just a footnote in the Odyssey. But
I'll be curious in the Odyssey to see how far, like how much of the Troy stuff they cover.
they're supposed to have appearances from Menelaus, Agamemnon, and Achilles, but those last two are all in the underworld portion when he like has to travel through there and he sees them as ghosts in the underworld or whatever.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and Agamemnon, I think, doesn't actually die in the war. I want to say he comes back home and his wife kills him in the original story. And his wife is the sister of Helen of Troy, which is nuts. That's why Lupita Nyong'o is playing both of them.
Oh, I didn't realize she was playing two characters. Oh,
But I guess it's like not twins. And so, I mean, the actual story apparently is that like Zeus took the form of a fucking swan and either seduced or raped their mother, and they were born in an egg with two other kids. Like, what the fuck?
if there's anything that we've learned about Greek mythology movies, let's look at Clash of the Titans and maybe steer away from that. If we're going to include gods and Zeus.
Honestly, if you're going to include Zeus, there's a lot of problems because there's so many forms he has taken to get laid on Earth. No wonder his wife, Hera, was a crazy bitch. She was fucking insane. But I don't think that there'll be big characters, but I know that we have, what's his face? Benny Safdie is playing Agamemnon. And I know that there will be some parts of like the Trojan War that we see, but like, I don't know if we're going to see him or Achilles in the underworld, or if I know that we will see John Bernthal is playing Menelaus. And I was like, man, that's a real different stroke there than Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think that'll be great.
Okay.
I honestly don't again, like you said, this isn't going to be a one-to-one thing, but I just still am bothered by the fact that this is one of the few movies that Sean Bean actually lives in. He famously plays a character who has a whole fucking story named after him, The Odyssey.
Yeah.
And yet they never made it with him. What the fuck? That just feels cruel because he dies in almost everything. If he lives, the one character that he should get to play again like this, fucking, I'm sure Matt Damon will be fine. But like, come on, Sean Bean really couldn't. You couldn't. Christopher Nolan's like, I don't want to be associated with that film.
And Sean Bean's a great actor, so like he totally could have done it.
Literally, he's one of my favorite parts in the movie. Just like this, the normal cut, he's barely in it. But Sean Bean in the extended version, I was just so happy that we got a lot more scenes with him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good, especially just like to watch. If you watched this before the Odyssey, check out the extended edition, maybe, because that'll have a little bit more relevant stuff. But Sean Bean is so good. And I just feel like you don't get a ton about Odysseus. You don't really know much about him, but like what you get is like, I feel like you get the essence of him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's great. And I don't know about the original story, but I like how they positioned him as like the only person that Achilles will talk to and like actually respect
that will listen to. Yeah. Cause he's like the smartest one. He's supposed to be. And he's a good fighter too, but he's also like, he's supposed to be so smart. And I think after like, that's why the Odyssey is like a whole fucking story of him failing all over the place. But because he's like, so like, yeah, I'm the man after the Trojan horse thing. Cause you're like, I mean, hey, I would probably go home pretty cocky after that too. I mean, that's pretty crazy, but in general, it's nuts. Cause like Sean Bean is like such a smaller part of the cast, but everyone in this movie is so good.
Yeah. So let's talk about Hector.
Yes. Can we talk about Eric Bana? Yeah.
When I think of Troy, I think of Eric Bana, and I fell in love with him after this. I was like, you fucking rock, especially being the opposite of Achilles. And like, but yeah, just like he's a good man, he's a good brother, he's a great hero. Like he kind of is, he is a little bit of a Mary Sue, but he dies, but like he is like the perfect person, which is also why I liked Russell Crowe in Gladiator so much, is like he's a man of honor and respect, and like that's kind of his superpower, is like being a good man. And then just throughout this whole movie, he's right every time, and then he's just smashing his head against other people's dumb skulls. But Eric Bana is so good, and like right before this, he was the Hulk, and that was not the best movie. So when I saw this, I didn't really expect to like him, but I freaking love Hector and all the lines he delivers. Just like that's like my Eric Bana iconic role, is this movie.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would say Munich, and I know he's good in that too. But and that was around this time too, like early 2000s. But I would say I love this. I always think of him in this movie too. And then just for like comedy wise, I always think of him in Funny People.
Oh yeah,
And he's goddamn hilarious. And he's using his actual native Australian accent, which I'm like, he should be doing this all the time. He's 10 times hotter.
Well, and maybe one of the reasons that we like him in this movie is people talk about the Odyssey being a white cast and all that stuff. Eric Bana is Australian, but his dad is Croatian. So he's actually got a little bit of Greek to him,
Yeah.
just a little bit. But
well, yeah, that's true. He's just I think he's actually not super boring for like a hero type.
Yeah.
In this movie, I don't think he is like a Mary Sue or whatever, like which doesn't really apply here. You mean like
he's kind of like Captain
America. Yeah, like stereotypical male hero character kind of. But
like,
I think he's more conflicted, and he's like, he also calls it like it is. I don't know if that's actually like the text. Like he might be fully into the gods thing and like not really. But what is funny is the big difference between the end, like the fight scene with him and Achilles in the original story, is that when Achilles shows up, he chases him around the walls, like outside the walls of like for a while. And then, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like on his chariot. And then when he like gets off to like fight him, Hector is like, okay, I'm going to go. And then he just like turns around and runs and tries to fucking leave. And I was like, and then like one of the gods has to like trick him or like talk to him as like his like dead family member to like get him to go and fight or like trick him. But I'm like, can you imagine if they did any of that in this? That would have been
that'd be so funny.
Funniest scene ever if he was chasing him around like fucking outside the city
that's
gate.
The entire extended edition is just him running laps up and down the walls.
Yeah, it would be so fucking funny. I mean, it's already great that Brad Pitt is just yelling, Hector!
Yeah.
Hector! Like, just the way he's yelling it is so good.
And that fight scene is just...
Yeah, let's talk about it.
It's an all-timer. It's so good. It's
those two actors. Like, it's not stunt doubles.
Yeah, and I think you told me that they had, like, a bet.
Yes, the famous bet. They had a bet that they would not use stunt doubles, and so they made a gentleman's agreement to pay for every accidental hit, $50 for a light blow and $100 for a hard blow. And after all was said and done, Brad Pitt ended up paying Eric Bana $750, but Eric Bana didn't owe him anything. And I was like, that just shows you who's a better fucking stunt person, or better, like, because that's the thing. Robert Pattinson was just talking about this with the Odyssey. He was like, I love fight scenes when I'm the one getting my ass kicked, because it's so much easier to not hurt someone else because you're not the one doing the fake punches or whatever, Whereas like you don't have to do anything. You just have to fall over. And I was like, yeah, clearly Brad Pitt also wasn't like, I feel like he's kind of dancing around a lot and being more defensive. And so, he does go for an attack at certain points, but I was like, it's kind of impressive that he had to pay Eric Bana that much.
Well, I think the extended edition does a lot of justice for this, because like when I thought about it, I thought of Brad Pitt, not attacking very much, but in the extended version, like he's doing a lot of attacking. Like he does that awesome move with the spear where he like throws it behind his back and then like just pokes at him with it.
That's in the regular version too.
I do remember that, but then there's
There
just
is
more
a lot
fighting.
more stuff, and I was like, okay, I agree. Once I saw that last night, I was like, all right, well, this makes that story sound. I thought it was funny that the studio was like, this is gonna fuck up our insurance premiums, or like whatever. It's gonna be so fucked for like getting the insurance on the actors that like they're gonna be hitting each other in the face and shit. Like that's not good. But they still did it. So
Also, it does make a little bit more sense that Eric Bana didn't have to pay anything, because like the second half of that fight, Eric Bana is swinging the sword like he's drunk. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming the character's supposed to be exhausted from.
well, that's what's great about it, and I think it kind of like maybe we can talk about this after, but I think it kind of leans into like where I don't think this movie necessarily says like the gods and like the mythology and like kind of the supernatural stuff doesn't exist. I think
Yeah.
it just like doesn't outright show it, because like Achilles is technically a demigod, right? So he's like Hercules. So he's got like he's in like just not like a human. So
Yeah, he's like
he can-
supposed to be immortal because he's like dipped into.
well, that was actually like I just read that was way later that story came about after the Odyssey and like the Iliad had, which is what
okay.
Troy is based on, had been written. So that was like a later addition to his mythology. But I like how they do it in this movie. But I feel like with him, it's like that whole fight scene, you can really tell like Brad Pitt is otherworldly because he's not huffing and puffing. He's not like getting exhausted. He's not like literally losing any energy. He's perfectly fine. He's not grunting, making noise. He's like just like, this is totally fine. I could go for I could do this all day, like Captain America. But like literally Hector is like probably the second best fighter in the world at this moment. But like there's a huge gap between first and second because first is like a god. So it's like this is the longest fight that Achilles has probably ever had.
Yeah.
Like it's still the longest fight he's ever done because it's like the best person he's ever fought.
Yeah.
But you could see how much it's like, wow, I really thought Hector had a chance. But once he came out here, I was like, oh, Hector doesn't have a chance. Like I thought, because he's so great and you were with him so much throughout the stuff, like the battle, and he even kills fucking Ajax, that huge guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was a great scene. I believe in Hector. But then once he goes out there, you're like, oh yeah, no, the Hector is sorry, buddy. It's time to go. Fucking
I mean, I was proud of Hector. He blocked like 2 or 3 of Achilles' signature move where he jumps up and stabs the
kill shot.
Yeah.
His kill shot. 100%.
Blocked it a couple times, but then Achilles got him with that nifty spearhead stab.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just like amazing to watch because you're like just the way that he dances around him. It did remind me like how you were saying that like they were inspired to like with that guy for the mountain earlier. I do feel like this fight scene even was like very much like the Mountain and the Viper.
Oh
in season 4 Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
and I like he's like totally just dancing around him and waiting for the big guy to get exhausted. Not that like either of these are big guys compared to the other. If anything, Brad Pitt's bigger. It's like nuts.
But it's like just from like a fight choreography, like it's such an engaging fight because like there's so much happening. It's not just like Star Wars where they swing the lightsaber or something. I'm talking about not the prequel. The prequel Star Wars sword fights are awesome. But
they're lightsaber fights, not sword fights.
But like, yeah, there's just so much going on. And then they switch between the spear and the shields and no shield. Like there's so much happening and it's just nonstop until suddenly Hector gets stabbed. And then it's just like the fight's over. And then also great call to just like carry him away, just drag him on the horse. I'm like, that's diabolical.
I think that like the best, like that's probably my favorite sequence in this whole film. Just like that fight between them is just so good. But I love what Achilles says to him like right before. And but like just because it's so, I mean, he has so many cold lines in this movie, like it's insane. But I would say when he tells him that like he's like, you won't have eyes tonight, you won't have ears or a tongue, you will wander the underworld blind, deaf, and dumb, and everyone will know this is Hector, the fool who thought he killed Achilles. And I'm like, God damn, I'd be like fucking quaking in my boots. I don't blame him for fucking running backwards in the fucking story. And I just think it's like after all of that, because like everyone, his family, his dad, his wife, thank God she handed the baby off because she was like, you don't need to see this.
Yeah.
Finally. But by the way, the wife, which Nolan never was saying, like, oh, she's beautiful too. Do you know who that is? Do you recognize
No,
her?
no.
Stafford Burrows is her name. And she is the lead in a little favorite movie of ours, Deep Blue Sea.
Oh shit.
I was like, yeah, don't trust this bitch around sharks. But I just thought that was really funny.
My favorite part of that whole sequence was when Hector was saying bye to his family, and the dad just straight up says, "You're my favorite son," in front of Paris. It's
Yeah.
just like, that's cold.
I know, but it's like Paris knows, like literally, he's right. Like he's not even wrong. Like,
Well, and
that's
then
the thing.
and then we do get a great scene with Peter O'Toole and Brad Pitt together.
I
Like,
always cry at the scene. Why are you telling me you don't like
no,
Peter
no.
O'Toole?
I think Peter O'Toole is just an annoying boomer. Okay, but I like him in the character. The character is an
No,
annoying
he's trying to
boomer.
help other people. If anyone's the annoying boomer, it's at least today's boomer. It's fucking Agamemnon. Talk about a guy who
Yeah,
won't
of course I
fucking
hate
let go.
Agamemnon.
What is Mitch McConnell doing besides like pretending to be alive so that he can still have a seat in the Senate? It's like these men just need to let go of power and fucking back off, but they can't do it even back in ancient Greece. So I would say actually, like, I think the leader of Troy is more like fucking Bernie Sanders. Like he's like the guy who's especially in the extended edition, he's like let the innocents go. He's always trying for decency. And I think that's like, I wish more boomers were fucking doing that. I wish that was what they were doing.
I wish that also. But their scene together is really good. It's the only time that they're in a scene together. And I was like, this has to be the meeting of like two of the most intense stares, blue-eyed stares in
Literally.
Hollywood. Like,
Oh my
they're just
God.
looking into each other's souls.
I mean, Peter O'Toole, you probably never seen Lawrence of Arabia, but like that was
I've
like,
seen it a long time ago. Like, I know who Peter O'Toole is, and
yeah, he's like literally up on the acting greats Hall of Fame with like Marlon Brando, and I guess some people would say Daniel Day-Lewis. But he's so good in that scene, and like when he's like, I loved my son from the moment he opened his eyes till the moment you closed them, and I was like, Jesus, he's just like so good. And I love the fact that he left the premiere of the film like 10 minutes into it. He was like, this fucking sucks, and left. And I was just like, so he didn't even like get to see how great he is in this movie. It was just like, he was just like, whatever, I'll just like fart this out. And it's like, this is what we get for him, like probably not even putting any effort in. It's amazing. It's incredible. But yeah, those eyes. Like there's a scene when he sees the destruction of Troy, and his eyes are like so watered and glassed over from like tears that like they almost look like they've been visual effects added, but it's like that's just his fucking eyes.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
All right, so I wanted to ask you if there was anything in this movie that didn't work for you, or something that you didn't like, something you could go without, because I have something.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm ready for it. I have nothing besides Orlando. Not that okay. And I want to make something clear. I don't hate Orlando Bloom in this movie. I think he nails the character because he is a total bitch. He like makes us hate him because he's the worst.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't know what he was thinking taking this role. But like,
he is the reason for the plot, so you kind of have to have him.
You kind of have to, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll be this little shit. But like, maybe because he was working with all these people and it's a big epic movie. But man. I just thought, like, I'm not that I would say I don't want Orlando Bloom in it. I think he is good. Like, that's the thing. It's like he's good at the role, but the role just sucks.
Yeah, it is.
So my only criticism is Paris, and also I would like Helen of Troy to have a little bit more of a character besides just being beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm looking forward to seeing the new one, because that's what Lupita Nyong'o has said that like is a big thing with her, feeling like she could bring something new to this character. And I was like, yes, thank you. Like, yes, you're gorgeous, but like, there's got to be something else. She can't just be gorgeous and sit there. I mean, fucking Rose Byrne was there, gorgeous, and actually had a great character in this movie.
Yeah, you're right. So speaking of Rose Byrne, I think the entire love story of Achilles in
Yeah.
Rose Byrne's character
Briseis.
is completely pointless. It doesn't make sense in the slightest. Like
Yeah.
they
It's added for the movie. It's not in the original story. I mean, he takes her as like a, prostitute or whatever. Like a
one thing I was surprised, I looked at the letterbox reviews, and a lot of people are really pissed that they made Achilles straight, because apparently the cousin,
Patroclus. Him and Patroclus are lovers in some of the versions.
yeah, they're lovers, and like maybe they don't outright full on say that they're lovers, or maybe they do. I don't know, but
They say they're cousins.
I heard a couple lines that are like, this is very intimate descriptions of
It
what
could
they're
be.
doing.
Well, and also if you notice, I think like the seashell necklace that when he goes to visit his mom, who by the way is only in the water when he talks to her, and she's like a sea nymph, like a sorceress or like a goddess or something in the story, so she can't leave the ocean. So it's like when they do things like that, I think they're just like implying it without full on telling you. But I think it's the same thing with like those two, because the necklace that she's making him at the beginning, she said she's making this seashell necklace that she's making him, and she's like picking out all the seashells, and then like later in the movie you see Patroclus wearing that necklace. So what kind, I mean, I don't know a lot of men who give each other jewelry, but maybe that was a common thing back then, I'm not sure. But I think like there's actually more versions of the story with them as lovers than cousins.
It's not even a thing of I'm like, oh, I needed a sex scene between them, rather than Rose Byrne.
I did need a sex scene between him and Patroclus.
I liked the relationship that they had. It was more of like the mentor sort of like brother thing. And I imagine that was to kind of parallel Hector and Paris. But yeah, it's just like the chemistry and how that relationship progressed from, essentially it's like they fucked because she's like, oh, you're not a pillaging rapist, so like I have a knife to your throat, but like, I saw the goods, let me in there. Like
as soon as you see Brad Pitt, you're like, all right, yeah, dude. Like, so in the story, I think like she has, I don't know if it's a sister, I don't think it is, I think there's just another girl who has like a name, like I forget what it is, but it's like similar to Briseis. It's like Perseus or like some other thing. Chryseis, I think that's what it is. And she gets taken as like a concubine for King Agamemnon.
Yeah.
And then he gives Achilles Briseis, Rose Byrne's character. And in the books, like he uses her for sex, but like he doesn't love her or anything. And then when she gets taken from him, that's why he like doesn't fight for Agamemnon for the rest of the time, just like in this. But it's not because he loves her, it's because he's like, how dare you insult my honor? So he even like has the gods, like he makes pleas to the gods to like fuck with the Greeks and give the Trojans the advantage so that they will be beaten back and like about to like abandon, and then he'll like, oh, I'll be the hero that they need. Then they'll realize how much they need me. So it's like, it's really just about his fucking like, swagger, really. And then when Agamemnon offers to give her back to him, he says, I don't want her. So that's like the last we hear of her. I don't know what happened to her. But interesting, right? I was like, they just added that. It seems like I get why they didn't just like lean into him and Patroclus relationship, but I think it would have been more interesting, 100%.
Well, I mean, and the weird thing is that like even their relationship doesn't actually like affect the story. Like he kills Hector because Hector kills his cousin. He gets pissed off and does that, and then that's kind of it. And like her whole
but that's the whole reason that he's fated to die. He knows that if he, at least in the story, he knows that once he kills Hector, he's fated to die in Troy. And he knows, like at the beginning, his mom tells him that he'll die in Troy. But so he kind of accepts it. But like he literally knows, like in the original, and so does Hector. He knows, like they both know they're fated to die here, which is interesting. I'm like, I just don't understand how that all works. I feel like it's better to like have that unsaid, because if they just know that they're going to die, it's like, okay, great, that's really fun.
Yeah, it's like, I just don't care for it at all. I love Rose Byrne. I think she's great in this movie.
I'm glad she's in this movie because like if she was just Briseis and like just being raped by Brad Pitt in one scene and then never seen again, or just like with Agamemnon, I'd be like, I don't want to see her like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's with Brad Pitt in that regard. I'm
Yeah.
okay with her in the movie, but I agree with you that like the love relationship just doesn't matter, and it also is like just something that they invented for the movie. So
Yeah. But I did love Brad Pitt's scene when he finds out his cousin's dead. Like that reaction, Brad Pitt nailed that. A lot of this movie is like Brad Pitt. There's a lot of smoldering Brad Pitt. Like a lot of
so smoldering.
like there's a
lot
lot of smoldering, a lot of there's so many dramatic zoom ins in this movie. Like
this is why he's like, this movie's just garbage. They don't understand. I'm more than just a pretty face. But it's like, yeah, but in this, you're supposed to be the prettiest face and the scariest. Like you're supposed to be the best fighter, but like you're so hot. I'm sure people are like, I don't care. Kill me. Do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and that kind of like is the movie. Like you get the whole siege of Troy, which happens very fast. Like that whole part is like
really quick.
Yeah, it's like the last 15 minutes. The one thing I always think about though with the Trojan horse is I'm just like, there's no way that they made that convincing. Like there's no way they made it so airtight that you can't see bodies moving inside of it. Also, when they get out of the Trojan horse, it's like a clown car. I'm like, they stuff 100 people in that thing. Like, how does that work?
It's interesting because I was like, it's weird that they never show us the inside POV because we know that they're in there.
They show like one shot of like it close to one of the seams, and like this is made out of driftwood, so like
this
is not something that's being sanded down or like
And I always
they had a week. They had a week to build this thing.
And when the whole like they're doing the parade through town, marching, everyone's dragging this goddamn thing, aren't they? Like this thing's fucking heavy. Did they fill it with rocks? Like, why is it 10 times heavier than just wood? Like, wouldn't you realize if there's like 100 guys in there?
Yeah.
But I think we're actually going to see in the Odyssey. There's scenes in the trailer, and like they talked about shooting stuff inside the horse.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious to see what that will like be like because I'm like nobody coughed or farted or burped or moved or shuffled or said anything.
Yeah.
I mean, can you even when you have like a group of 15 people for a surprise party until the person walks in, you're like, everybody shut the fuck up. No, seriously, shut the fuck up. I swear to God, I'll kill you. Shut up. Nobody fucking stops talking anymor. I can't imagine you get 100 soldiers who probably are like really just like, it's been 10 years. I don't want to be in this horse. I want to go the fuck home. Like, I just can't imagine they would be quiet, but fuck. I mean, maybe they were threatened. I don't know. But I mean, it's going to be pretty cool to see like the actual, like how it plays out in the Christopher Nolan version. But I like it when they all come out like the clown car. I actually thought it looked more like spiders or something crawling out.
Yeah.
Of, like bugs. And I was just like,
they just kept coming out. Like,
but I was like, man, when all the Trojans are dying, I'm like, they're probably just sitting there like, God, we are such idiots.
Yeah.
We were dancing around, fucking partying, getting drunk with them all in there. And like, it's just crazy. And nobody had to pee for 8 hours or 12 hours, however long that lasted.
That was one thing I thought of. I was like, okay, they all must have made a deal. They're like, hey, no eating, no drinking anything after this point. Like they're gonna come around, the morning. So like midnight, nothing, no eating, no drinking, anything.
Like you're going in for surgery. No
exactly,
solids, no liquids.
Exactly.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. Well, I'm sure they won't get into those details, but
sorry, go
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, you have a question? All right, I'll just say a statement. One thing I hated about the ending is when Paris gives the sword to just a random dude. It's like,
I mean, it's better than fucking Paris. At least he knows how to use it.
Like, you couldn't give it to Hector's wife, maybe to Hector.
He doesn't know how to wield a sword.
It's not about wielding.
Son is a baby. You can hand that to a baby.
No, but it's
the
symbolism. Give it to Helen. This is all because of what you did with her anyway. So like, she deserves the sword.
No, anyone's gonna have. I guess. Well, honestly, just like he was such a bitch. He had to have his fucking, bow and arrow. But the fact that he also is the one to kill Achilles, I had to look this up because he does kill him in the story too. And I was like, that's just the worst.
Yeah.
Achilles must be like, why this fucker? Like, and I kind of like how they do it in the movie where he gets shot first through the ankle, which is like, that's why you don't wear fucking open back sandals when you're at war.
That stray arrow that could come from anywhere.
Nolan was like, I think it was practical why they were wearing the skirts. I'm like, all of these dudes in these battle scenes are getting fucking arrows in their legs and they're all going down. I just feel like some armor on the legs would have been a good idea. But with that, I'm like, he shoots him in through the Achilles tendon, right?
Yeah.
And then he shoots him other times. And so like, it's not
Shoots
like
him
the Achilles
5 times in the gut. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what killed him was the
Yeah,
5
exactly.
arrows in the
But
gut.
what's great is that they like Brad Pitt pulls all the other arrows out, right?
Yeah.
So when he is found by all the other Greek soldiers, he just has the Achilles heel like stabbed through. And so I feel like it's kind of implying that like they named the Achilles heel after him because they
Yeah.
thought because he was the best fighter in the world, he was that was where the legend came from, that he was
Yeah.
only dipped in the pool because he was like shot through the Achilles. And I just thought that was like a cool way to like imply that mythology
Yeah.
without like getting too much at the very end. Like it was just a very subtle thing, but
I'm
thought it
sure.
was
I'm
good.
sure Achilles, in hindsight, would have been like, "That's how I die. I'm the most badass dude in the world, and this guy shoots me through the heel. That's how you remember me. That's not what I wanted."
I know. I get like the most delicate part on the body is named after me. It should be the hardest part. Like why am I named
Look at
after
the
like
5
most
holes
sensitive?
in my sternum. Okay, that's what killed me. Say that I survived 5 arrows to the
They're
chest.
like, we don't even need to do a fucking. They probably, I mean, obviously they're not
Leave
doing
the armor
autopsies.
on.
They're not doing autopsies back then. But that's actually a great lead into my question that I had, which was, do you think they could do this movie like with the gods and mythology stuff present? Because it's weird how like Troy and the Odyssey are like 2 halves of like a very similar coin. But like I personally feel like Troy works better without the mythology like outwardly shown or like involved versus like I think if you did the Odyssey without any of the gods in like as characters or like actually interfering, you would just think that fucking
This guy
Odysseus is just like a
he's just
drunk
drunk.
asshole
Yeah.
who got marooned on Tit Island for 10 years and was just fucking whores and not coming home to his wife and kid.
And
Like,
he's
you'd be
just,
like,
he's
"This
just
guy
drunk at
sucks."
the wheel, getting lost over and over again.
Yeah, he's gotten lost. He's fucking like occasionally he has to defeat a monster, but it's like between that, he's fucking all these like that's what he's doing on a lot of the trips and like losing his way and getting totally turned around. So it's like if you do that, he becomes like instead of the smartest man, he becomes like a total moron. We're watching a big old idiot, but I don't know. That's my opinion.
I will give David Benioff a lot of credit for deciding where to start and stop the story of the Odyssey because I like that how they did it. I like that they did it.
You mean the Iliad?
Yeah, sorry that he chose to just focus on Troy and not the rest of it because this section I like that they grounded it, that they didn't have any supernatural or outwardly supernatural elements to it. You know, Brad Pitt feels like a superhero in this movie, but like his character's supposed to be the best. But like
certain things that he does to protect himself, even in the movie, that like those things are like actually like a god interfering and doing that for him in the story. And you're like, that's so lame. That makes it terrible.
It takes away the entire cool factor.
Exactly, because you're supposed to believe he has this skill, but you're like, if the gods are fighting these battles and like every single god is involved, like there's gods even like in disguise on the battlefield, and you're like, how is that fair? And like, what the fuck?
That would make Hector's death even worse because at least when he dies to Achilles, it's like, okay, he died to that guy. Like he died to the coolest guy, you know, out there. But it's like if he just dies from some god with screwing up their fight or whatever, I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah,
oh, it was 1-on-1, not 2-on-1.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's like the gods, and it's like so many of them. They have a god for like every fucking thing you can imagine. There's like a god of just childbirth, and I'm like, that sucks. And then Zeus, who cheats on his wife every chance he gets, his wife is the the goddess of marriage. And I was like, what a fucking dick to saddle her with that job. And then he's just sleeping with everyone, just changing into animals to go fuck women. What the fuck is his problem? I'm just telling you, the Mount Olympus was fucked.
The Odyssey is the opposite. Like, you can't tell the Odyssey without some level of like divine intervention, because
and you
have mythological creatures, like you have cyclopses, you have sirens or whatever. So it's like, you need that. It's like you're saying, if this was grounded, it's like Matt Damon's just drunk at the wheel.
Like, he's just a total dick.
He's the typical refuses to ask for directions guy.
I know where I'm going. Thank you very much. And then he just fucking proceeds to go to every wrong place in the whole world. But I think it's interesting because I think if you're gonna do a straight up adaptation, like with like ancient Greece stuff, you have to do it with the mythology included.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is there is an adaptation technically of the Odyssey that has no supernatural elements, and it is a Coen Brothers movie, and it's called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I forget that that's based off the Odyssey.
It is, and it's literally the whole entire story. Like, they have the Cyclops, which is John Goodman, but it's literally just a guy he has one eye because he has an eye patch, but it's like basically the Cyclops. They have the sirens, like the women who are just like, seducing them and trying to lure them to their deaths, and like all these different things, and people trying to get in the way. But they obviously change and embellish stuff, and they set it in like, the 1930s in the South. And it's so great. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's so different. But it's like, what a crazy fucking idea to do the Odyssey that way. I can't believe it worked.
And people didn't complain about historical inaccuracies.
Well, that's because they weren't wearing fucking skirts in ancient Greece. But my God, the way people are complaining about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, I just feel like, let's all watch it first, okay? I'm sure that you're going to complain about it not being accurate, but is anything accurate nowadays? Except for Robert Eggers, as we said.
All right, we made it through the siege of Troy. The Trojans didn't, but we did, and now we get to go see the Odyssey this week.
Yeah, and you know what? I just found out something about Christopher Nolan that I forgot to mention in this episode, so I'll just throw it in here. But originally, when they were making Troy, Wolfgang Peterson was also developing Batman versus Superman at that time. This is before like Christopher Nolan's Batman movies, and I guess because they didn't end up, I think they both were like, it was behind schedule, so he had to stick with one of them. So he stuck with, Wolfgang Peterson was like, I'll stick with Batman versus Superman. But then at that point, they had Christopher Nolan attached to direct Troy. And I just thought that was really funny. And so then basically they ended up not going forward with Batman versus Superman because it was like a really dark script or something. So Wolfgang went back to Troy, and then they had to offer something to Christopher Nolan as a consolation prize, so they offered him Batman, and that's where we got Batman Begins and Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
What a sliding glass door moment. Like, if Christopher Nolan did Troy, then that means we probably don't get any of the Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
or even the Odyssey. Like, what would he want to go back to ancient Greece? I don't know. Maybe all these years later, maybe he still would. But it's crazy to think about that, right?
That is super crazy to think of. Like, we don't get Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, we don't get Heath Ledger, we don't get Cillian Murphy,
we don't get the like,
we don't
where are the drugs going? Like,
we don't get Bane, we don't get Bane's voice.
Yeah.
Like,
literally, like, the world, it would be there's an alternate universe where that happened, and I'm scared to see what that would be like.
But then we get the question of like, hey, what happens if we get a Batman versus Superman movie that's not directed by Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
Like,
does
it balance out, or did we land in the right timeline?
That might be in a good timeline. I mean, look at where we are now in the world. Maybe that world is in a way better place.
Yeah, could be. Zack Snyder doesn't exist, and after
he
Dawn of the Dead,
off the fucking screen after his first film, and no one ever heard from him again. To be in that universe.
Well, next week we're going back to recent movies, and just like Obsession, as soon as this movie popped up on VOD, we're like, yeah, we got to talk about it because it was awesome. So, Renee, what are we watching?
We're going to be watching Backrooms, which has finally landed on VOD this week. And it's absolutely worth the purchase, rent, whatever you want to do. It's such a good movie. It's so different from Obsession, but honestly, just this new era of horror filmmakers are so exciting. And I think everyone should be supporting this. If you haven't already seen it in the theaters, like definitely get it on demand. And if you have already seen it, worth the purchase as well, because I already have rewatched it a couple times and it's just great. There's so much, like so many little things that you don't notice on the first watch that you pick up on rewatches that is just like so cool.
Yeah, this was such a fun movie to see in theaters because it's the last movie I can think of that I saw with a packed theater. Like, I think maybe the most packed movie I've seen next to this recently was Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yeah.
But like, it's great seeing a movie in a packed theater. You know, I honestly had been nervous because I'd heard a lot of things about bad groups of people, like young kids coming in to see Backrooms because it's like an internet thing and that they were just like loud and noisy and it was like shitty. But like I didn't have that experience, thank God. But it was still fucking busy on like a Monday night when we saw it. So it was worth it. It was a great movie to watch with the group and surprisingly quiet. Like there wasn't really a lot of like audience interaction with stuff. Like we weren't all like screaming or laughing together. It was more just like everybody was fully immersed. Yeah, we were locked in on the vibes of the Backrooms. It's like that's
so good.
This movie is all vibes. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
It has a great message to it too, and I just think we should be like celebrating this moment, especially in horror films, where just like pathetic men are the protagonists of things, and like it's just so weak and stupid, and it's just something we should celebrate. I think.
Well, this will be fun. I'm gonna rewatch the YouTube series also because I didn't realize when I watched it, but apparently this is not like a remake or anything. Like this is a continuation of his story.
It has a lot of the same lore. I had never seen, and I think I'd only seen like one of the videos, like the found footage ones, but like I went through and watched all of his Backrooms videos in order that like some of them get into the lore and the behind the scenes stuff of like the company who made it and stuff. It's really fascinating. But yeah, it's really cool to see that like, oh, this isn't just like he's changing what the Backrooms is or like the lore behind it or, you know, any kind of the storyline that he's already gotten. It's like he's just like continuing on in the films, and it's such a cool, like, it's not like he has to redo it for anybody who doesn't get it. Like it's a pretty simple concept, so you can kind of just jump right in. But if you know all the like lore and stuff, it just adds extra Easter eggs to the movie.
Yeah. So, well, it's gonna be fun to watch and fun.
Hopefully, we don't get lost.
Even more fun to talk about. But
oh yeah,
that's it for this week. We'll see you next week on the regular exclusive podcast.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out here.